Hello everyone. Today I want to enhance your understanding of how to identify violations to the Aufbau Principle that was developed by Niels Bohr and Wolfgang Pauli. Also the Hund's Rule that was developed by Friedrich Hund and the Pauli Exclusion Principle that was developed by Wolfgang Pauli. Now the Aufbau Principle states that electrons fill the low energy orbitals first. So for example, in a given shell, the s orbital is filled before the p, then the d, and so on. So considering the order of filling of electrons, 1s is filled before 2s, then 2p, then 3s, and so on. So let's consider a violation to this principle. Now looking at the electron configuration or the order of filling of electrons, what you notice is that the 2s is not filled. However, electrons are on the 2p. Therefore, this violates the Aufbau principle because the 2s should be filled before the 2p. Now for the Hund's rule. Hund's rule states that orbitals must be half filled before pairing up. So consider the following subshell with 3 orbitals. What you'll do first is to fill going up, which is a positive a half, then you fill coming down, which is a negative a half. Now a consideration or an example that violates Hund's rule. If you look at the following electron configuration or order filling of electron, what you'll notice is on the 2p subshell, notice the very last orbital is not filled. However, the first orbital is already started to pair up, which should not take place. So pairing should not take place unless you have filled all the orbitals first. Now for the Pauli exclusion principle, Pauli exclusion principle states that electrons in the same orbital must have opposite spin. In other words, they must go in opposite directions. Now let's look at an example for this violation. Now look at the electron configuration. What you notice here is that the 2s, 2 electrons, they are going in the same direction, which simply means this is a violation. Now let's look at some examples and see how well you have learned. And so looking at this 4D with 5 electrons, what you notice is that the very last orbital is not filled or have any electrons. However, pairing up start at the first orbital. So therefore, this is a violation to Hund's rule. If you go to that first orbital as well, what you notice, the 2 electrons that are there, they are going in the same direction, which simply means this is a violation to Aufbau principle. Looking at another example here. Now look carefully, and you notice that the 3s contains only 1 electron. However, electrons are on the 3p. Therefore, this is a violation to Aufbau principle because the 3s should fill before going on to the 3p. Now looking at another example here, look carefully. Now the 2s has 2 electrons, the 2p, you have electrons went half and then pairing up start taking place, and so therefore there is no violation for this example. Looking at another example, the 1s and the 2s. If you notice carefully, notice the 1s contains only 1 electron, therefore it is a violation to the Aufbau principle because the 2s is filled before you fill 1s. Now also look at the 2s. The electrons are going in the same direction. So therefore this is a violation to the Pauli exclusion principle. All right, and so I hope this was helpful to you. And I want to thank you for being here, and I appreciate you watching this lesson and other lessons. And I want to remind you that your right to learn should never be violated. Have a wonderful and a blessed day. Talk to you soon.